Hello and welcome to Spa once more. So this was the very first race in the GT2 Mini Championship by Scottish Legends. It was the race out of the series that I enjoyed the most, and I hope you will too. But yeah, I came into the lobby and I was ready for qualifying, so I set out quite quickly. My first attempt, I don't remember how well it went. We'll find out in just a moment. In any case, I had 10k right behind me, who seemed to be a faster driver than me. So, okay, I put down a 225.0 as my first lap. Let's call it a banker lap. And then 10k had done a 222.6. So only half a second behind, clearly faster than me. I figured better park it up, let them pass, and then I'll go for another attempt on my next lap. On Spa, it's a bit of a pain since if your next lap is just an out lap, and if you park up after starting the lap, then obviously you're gonna lose a lot of time. Then you have to drive the whole Spa lap, which is quite long compared to most tracks. But yeah, I end up qualifying P13 with a 224 point. I think it was 2, but I'm not sure anymore. And let's introduce some of the people here. So in the red circle, I'm a full blue Maserati. That's me. Green circle is Liva in the white Porsche. In front of me in the yellow circle is Teneke with the blue, white, yellow Maserati. And then in the exact same car and livery in front of him is Marty Fox. So off we go. To my left, Liva immediately drops back quite a bit, basically abandoning their position on the start, or they're so far back in their starting box that I just immediately moved left, because I was quite close already to Teneke in front. We maintain these positions coming onto the Camel Straight, so Teneke right in front of me, and then in front of him was Marty Fox, who was briefly alongside Garcia in the Ferrari, but then I guess Teneke and Garcia had a better exit coming out of Radion, so Marty Fox is on the inside line coming into Le Combe 1, and I end up outbraking him, and we're alongside through Le Combe 1 and 2, through Malmedy as well, still alongside, and then we come to Bruxelles, pretty heavy braking zone. And this was the first race in the championship. If you watch my second video, the previous one, you might remember that he wasn't too comfortable on the brakes, so I outbrake him. I should have, I think, come more to the inside of corner Bruxelles to avoid him trying to make a move into Jackie X, but we'll see it better on the replay here. So I'm center screen, immediately coming to the left a bit, with Liva being too far back in their starting box. I'm right behind Teneke. There's a car closing in on the back of me, but there is no room to pass me by on the exit of Radion, so I keep my position. And actually in the KTM, the orange car behind me, Peters makes a move on the black car. I believe it was a Lamborghini or Lamborghini, I don't know. But anyway, here I'm side by side with Marty Fox into Le Combe 1 and 2. We leave each other ample space, so respectful racing there, I'd say. Then through Malmedy is still the case, but then here into Bruxelles I break them, and I feel I came to the inside a bit. They back out, and I think I should have held that line more, because here you can see they almost come alongside, or maybe briefly they did, and it looked like they were maybe gonna make a move into Jackie X. So I didn't dare to open up the corner on entry as much, and that slowed me down a bit on exit. But anyway, not enough that Marty Fox could make a move on me. So in Pouhon, we basically hold positions. In front of me, Teneke has made a move on Garcia, who is now the car in front of me, and also on Camajas, who had a moment and lost some places because of it. And Peters has made a lot of moves. I'm actually confused when this even happened. I must have been through Le Combe, I guess. But anyway, so he's in front of them. So we have quite a neat Congo line almost, with a lot of cars racing quite close. Especially behind me there's Fox, Duchesne and Davidenko all within 1 second, with Duchesne making a move on Davidenko. And next making a move on Marty Fox as well. So now Duchesne is the car behind me. But I'm looking more in front to make sure I brake in time and not hit Garcia. Then Garcia doesn't take a very good exit out of the bus stop chicane. And I figured I would be possibly driving past or at least coming alongside on the straight, but then I don't. I guess my throttle control wasn't all that good there, unfortunately. So we're still in the same positions. Pay no mind to the lap times, they're always very funky on the first lap on Spa, no idea why. But then starting the next lap, I'm a bit behind now Garcia, though that 2.5 seconds seems like it's overstating it. But behind me there's a much bigger gap with Davydenko and Duchesne. And I get a warning for exceeding track limits in Radion and Eau Rouge. I think it was my second warning for track limits, although I didn't hear the first one now commenting, but yeah, commentating. But anyway, I think I'm on 2 warnings already, so I figure I need to chill a bit because I have one more warning, and after that it's time for penalty, so I definitely want to avoid that. In front of me, Garcia is kind of stuck behind Camajes. He goes wide in Jackie X and I follow suit, so we both went wide and I dropped back a bit on exit. But then in Pouhon I keep it pretty neat and I come back a little at least. And then especially in Le Fine it seems I was a bit braver on the brake, so there too I closed the gap up a little bit. And behind there was again a few changes of position, so Duchesne and Davydenko in particular seemed to be duking it out, but I didn't really see it, they were just too far back for that. And if anything I was happy about it because it meant that they were keeping each other busy and losing time compared to me, so it's just gaining positions. We see 2 other people though making moves behind, Liva and a Riz Racer. Have both closed in on Duchesne now and passed the people that were behind Davydenko and Marty Fox. And then in the bus stop chicane we see Peters having a moment. I think they spawn Tenneke. So Tenneke is passed by our whole gaggle and Peters drops back a bit and is now just in front of me. Here in La Source I managed to come alongside. We banged doors a bit. Not sure if we need to call this anything other than a racing incident, but we can look on the replay. So first bus stop chicane, they close in a bit fast on Tenneke and are not prepared for it. I do appreciate that they didn't get on the throttle for the second bump like a lot of people do, so well done Peters. By the way, in I think 2 videos ago I called him Chris Peters, but it's actually Kevin. I guess that was just kind of a joke I had in my head about it being the politician, but it's Kevin, not Chris. So yeah, on exit there of La Source, a bit of door banging, no big deal. I don't get the position, but it's fine. And then here through Eau Rouge and Radion, I am braver than the laps before, but really trying to watch out for track limits. And I feel like I had a pretty good line through there this time, with a pretty good lift, not too much but not too little. So I come alongside into Le Combe 1 and here I get bumped and I feel like I wasn't left enough space there. We'll see it again on the replay. So yeah, coming out of these 2, I was so close to track limits, but I just kept it on track because the curbs also count, and I was faster on the Camel Straight, so closing in, coming alongside into Le Combe 1 here. My front wheel was alongside to the back wheel, so I feel like I was deserving of space and I didn't really get enough there, so we end up coming together. Costs a position because Duchesne passes me, but then Peters recovers fast enough that at least he manages to keep Duchesne behind. In the meantime too, Liva has closed up a lot, so he's now the car behind me. You may recall him from my previous video too, the last corner pass on Monza, which was big hype for me. Of course, this race happening before I can't read the future, so I wasn't aware that would happen and we would have a pretty nice battle there. Duchesne goes a little wide here in Le Fine 1. Manages to correct it by the second part of Le Fine, but then I have already closed ground a bit. I myself have a slight moment in the fine too, so they open up the gap again. So yeah, nothing doing for now. At some point, I'm not exactly sure when, and it doesn't show here in the screen recording, but Kevin Pete has got a 5-second penalty, which at this point, I don't think I had noticed it, at least now. I'm not sure if he had already gotten it. But it can come into play if I don't manage to get an overtake. If I just manage to stay within 5 seconds by the end of the race, it's of course gonna give me a position for what feels like for free. But yeah, my last lap at 2:27.9 is pretty bad, but of course because of the contact with Petes, the second contact I mean, where I had a quarter spin. Liva behind did a 2:24.4, so that seems like manageable pace for me, so I wasn't too worried about that. Rouge Radion, my lift was maybe slightly too big. I at least didn't hit track limits, which was the main goal. And I still closed up on the Camel Straight. And then when I was doing free practice, there was this guy, I think his name's Frankens, or Franken. I'm not sure anymore what it was, but at least he was by far the fastest guy in the GT2s, or by far, by some margin. And at some point I let him pass on the Camel Street, and then I was behind him into Le Combe, and I saw that he was cutting the curbs there super aggressively. And if you watched my previous video, you may recall that I was saying how I was cutting curbs very aggressively, and was entirely inspired by watching him do it. Anyway, sorry, went on a bit on a tangent there, but I was going for an overtake on Duchenne in Pouhon. But then again, I felt like maybe I wasn't left enough space, though I think this is much more of a racing incident. So he didn't use the exit space on Jackie X corner very well. I have faster exit speed come alongside, and we both have still space on our either outside, but he more than me. But we come together, and at that high of a speed, it's very detrimental. They do end up recovering better than me, so I'm behind, but then they have a big moment coming out of Le Fagny, and they lose a bunch of positions here. Liva, Riz Racer, Tenike all pass by Duchenne, as well as me, of course. So position gained, not because of the contact we had before, but yeah. That contact did allow Liva and Riz Racer to close up a lot already, and Tenike, so probably also contributed to then them overtaking Duchenne. And about that contact still, so I felt it was a racing incident because we both had more space to go into, him having a bigger margin, but anyway, we just banged doors at too high speed with already some steering angle on, so ends up costing us both. Again, my lap time is a 2:26.2, so not great, or I say again like I hit that exact same lap time I didn't, but in any case, I didn't have a clean lap once more, unfortunately, so I still don't have a benchmark for a delta time to pit against. Coming in Rouge Radion, I'm cutting the curbs quite aggressively. I think I just about held it on track, although I'm not entirely sure. I had a pretty big lift, but I'm fine with that if I don't get another track limits violation and a warning, because that would have been my last one, and I really don't want any penalties. I think at this point I did see that for sure that Kevin Petens had a time penalty, the 5 seconds, but he was just basically driving away from me, extending the gap, and I felt that through all 3 practices beforehand he was really quite fast with these GT2s, so I didn't think that the 5-second penalty would materialize to anything for me. I completely didn't expect that I would be able to keep up enough for that, and yeah, from the timing sheet it seems I was right about it, since he's already at 6 seconds before, and there's still almost 10 minutes to go in this race, so plenty of time for him to even extend the gap more. We see him just about going into Le Fagny there as I come out of Pouhon. In the meantime, behind me, Leva was the car chasing, but seems that something happened to them because Riz Racer and Duchenne both got an overtake on Leva. And Duchenne also got one on Tenneke already before that, since he had dropped behind them. So marching his way back up the order, or their way back up the order. Petens at this point already has a lead of 9 seconds. The timing sheet isn't super accurate, so I'm not sure how correct that is, but as we can see them in the distance, they are really quite far ahead. Okay, so I counted it now in my head, and I think it was about 8 seconds from when I saw them disappear out of the bus stop chicane and when I hit roughly the same point. He also did a 2:22.1, which is faster than I've managed at any stage in these GT2 cars on Spa. So again, reinforcing the idea in my head that the 5-second time penalty wouldn't amount to much for me. I did wonder during the race why this penalty was awarded. And after seeing the replay, I think it may have been because of their first hit on Tenneke in bus stop chicane. But during the race, I was thinking that maybe it was because of our incident in Lecombe 1, because I also felt that I needed to get more space there, and it did end up causing me a lot of time lost.
Yellow flag in sector 1.
Anyway, looking behind, Race Racer was not a big gap behind, but enough that I wasn't too worried about it at this stage. Then in front we had Peters, who was kind of driving away from me, but had the 5-second time penalty. So during the race, I was just thinking about what can I do, what's my goal here. I was P10, which I was pretty happy with already for Scottish Legends lobbies. For me, that's a quite good position compared to what I've done before in the endurance events that I've partook in. So I felt like there wasn't much else to do for me than to try and actually clean up my act and try to improve still on Spa here with this GT2 car, and maybe actually eventually get something out of the time penalty. I didn't expect that to be a possibility, but since I had so little experience in these cars, I felt like for sure there's so much room to grow, so might as well try. And so yeah, I'm just trying to first of all put down a clean lap, because I still haven't been able to do one. So here, for example, in Blanchimont, lifting enough, and I was pretty happy with my usage of space on the exit. So it's not that easy to judge how much you need to lift, but I was happy with how I approached it there. So I'll try to emulate that on following laps. And Peters in front has a 2:22.6 and I have a 2:23.0. So that's actually not too big of a difference anymore, and I figured if I can just, tighten up a little more, I can maybe at least come on par. And with 5 minutes to go in the race and the gap being almost 10 seconds or even 10 seconds full out, it just won't do. There's not enough time, and yeah, I would need to not only match his pace but also surpass it. So I didn't feel there was any possibility still. But then just coming out of sector 1, I was already up half a second on the delta time I finally managed to put up. So I was starting to gain that little bit of hope, I didn't really believe yet, but maybe it was coming my way. Then furthermore, coming out of Bruxelles, I increased the delta even more, although that was more mid-corner. I was almost a second up on my delta time. Then coming fully after exiting Bessa, it was still 7/10 of a second roughly, or even 8. So there is definitely margins here that I can still attain if I drive very consistently. And now coming out of Pouhon, I still saw Kevin Peters going into Le Fine, so I still had visual contact with him here and there on the track. I wasn't seemingly falling further back behind, so this was, again giving me that slight bit of hope. Not enough to believe that I could do something, but maybe, it's not entirely out of the question anymore. I did lose a bit of the time I had gained on my delta previously, so now I'm only about 2 to 3 tenths up. And I think I managed to avoid getting track limits there, but if I did, it was super narrow. But quite a neat bus stop chicane, puts me up even more on my delta, so 6 tenths up now, it's pretty good. And yeah, seems I did get track limit somewhere, but I did a 222.4 and Petes repeated a 222.6. So at this point I am actually gaining a little bit.
What is he doing?
He's beginning to believe.
So yeah, the gap was still way too big to actually be able to get there at these paces, but you know, if Petes messes up, and I really managed to keep up the pace, there is a chance. And I was really starting to feel it, also feeling more and more comfortable and confident in the car. So here again, cutting the curbs aggressively, pushing it quite deep into Le Comte 2, as I meant to do. And then quick on the throttle on exit of Malmedy, so really feeling it. Late on the brakes into Bruxelles. Okay, a bit too deep. I should have trail brake more, but still pretty decent. And I'm again up on my delta about half a second, coming out of Shaki X. So even if my pace was already a bit faster previous lap, there's still room for improvement, I feel. Although to be fair, my delta is still the 223.0, so right now I'm not even fully matching my previous lap, but yeah, room to grow.
Alright, man, the leader is on the final lap. Give it a final push.
So encouraged by my race engineer, I'm still feeling like maybe there's a chance, and I noticed that in fact I had closed up quite a bit on Petes, who had been stuck behind Garcia. And I was hoping Garcia would hold him up, but Petes kind of bumped him out of the way after Garcia had a bit of a slide. I think it was in Campus. So yeah, Garcia may have held him up for a bit, but that time is over now, and Petes is in clean air again. However, coming into the final lap for the both of us, the gap had closed up to about 7 seconds. So I was starting to believe more and more that there was an option here, especially seeing the lap time 224.5 and me doing a 222.7. You know, maybe I can do this. The gap, if I just need to bring it down to just below 5 seconds, if Petes has a moment somewhere on track or whatever, you know, there is a chance I can do this. I really believed. Just keep it tight and pray, basically. I still had one track limits violation in me that I could get a warning for. So there, for example, on Rouge Radion, I didn't, you know, not lift. I did try to make the corner and not get track limits. But yeah, I missed that target. But it seemed I didn't gain time at least, so I still had one warning left in me. Before I would get a penalty for the second one. And here, coming into Bruxelles, I saw that there was a bit of a tuft of smoke, and I looked in the replay, and indeed, Petes had gone a little wide in Malmedy. So again, allowing me to come just that little bit closer. And here, coming out of Bruxelles, I see him mid-corner on Jackie X, which I was pretty sure I hadn't seen the laps before. So even though the timing sheet isn't super accurate, just visually on track, I can already confirm to myself that yes, I am gaining ground here, or I have gained a lot of ground. Unfortunately, in Pouron, I leave a bit of too much space in the middle of the corner, though on exit I really make good use of the space, so pretty good. And in Lafayette too, I keep it nice and clean, pretty happy with my cornering there. Getting on the throttle nice and early. But then into Campus, big drama. Even though it wasn't a big moment, it cost me quite a bit of time, and I felt a little deflated immediately after. But I figured, come on, head down, buckle down, and keep going. On this very fast section, the gap was listed as 7 seconds, but I knew that that isn't entirely accurate. And here, on Blanchimont, I was contemplating so hard about just using my track limits violation and not lifting at all. But in the end, I decided against it. I still missed my corner and went wide by a country mile, but not because I didn't lift, and ends up me gaining another 2 tenths on Peters in that last lap. But it was super close, and at this point I didn't even know if I had finished ahead of them or no. So you'll see me here, my cursor appearing, and here this is me. You can see it because it's in VR and the recording doesn't show it, but I was just looking at the timetables, trying to, as fast as possible, see if I had closed up the gap. And as it turns out, I had finished the race 5 seconds, 0.058, I believe it was, behind Peters. So 5 seconds plus about 600ths of a second. So that moment in Campus absolutely cost me the position gain. And yeah, I didn't manage it. So yeah, a bit of a bummer. Or bummer is even too strong, because I was so thrilled after the race. It was such great fun chasing that gap, and I still finished P9. So yeah, I was very happy with the result, very happy with the chase, and it was just a cool thing to experience. So the event started so well for me. I was super happy. Anyway, thank you for watching, and catch you on the next one. Bye bye.